Women educators are natural givers, pouring into their students, their families, and communities. But what about pouring into you? This is the Educator Sanctuary, where we help you ditch the guilt and unapologetically put yourself at the top of your list. I'm Dr. Leah, educator, mindset coach, and your guide to creating a life where you align with your purpose and reclaim your power. So if you're ready to set boundaries and step fully into the woman you're meant to be, you're definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey, and welcome back to the Educator Sanctuary. If you're new here, I want to personally welcome you to this space where we have the big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and the ideals that help us live more intentionally. Today, we're going to be talking about something that we all experience at some point, and that is career pivots, leadership, and what it really means to stay true to yourself through transitions. Whether you're stepping into your new role, shifting industries, or even questioning if you're where you're supposed to be in this lifetime, this episode is for you. Because let's be real, change can be terrifying, but what if every pivot you make is actually a step forward? Lately, I have been seeing lots of conversations, whether it's on social media, in personal circles, or just in passing with strangers, about how people are really feeling like they're just ready for a shift. There's this collective energy of wanting more, of wanting different. And there's also some things in the air with the new political climate. So some people are just feeling like they need to be doing something, but at the same time, people are feeling stuck. Some people don't know where to start. Some people worry that they might not have the right skills. And others are just looking at the economy, their responsibilities, and wondering if it's even realistic to make the right move now. And that uncertainty is really what's keeping so many people in jobs, in roles, in situations that they've already outgrown. You might even resonate with these sentiments right now. So if you're feeling like you might need a change, but you are not sure what that looks like for you or how to make it happen, keep listening. Now, as always, I'm going to start with a personal story. And this one was perfect for me because I've actually pivoted a lot. Not only have my friends and family members said anything, but when I have conversations, even with strangers, they're like, my goodness, how many jobs or careers have you had? And the answer is a lot. So I actually started as an entrepreneur. From the ripe old age of 17 is when I started in this workforce. I was an entrepreneur for 10 years before I ever entered corporate America. From corporate America, I transitioned into education. And some way, somehow, I found my way back to entrepreneurship, blending my skills from entrepreneurship, corporate America, and education all into the current business that I am running right now. Each time I transitioned, I kid you not, it felt like I was starting over. It felt like I just didn't know what to do in life. Sometimes I took a significant pay cut that I felt like was a setback. But what I realize now is that none of those times was I ever starting over. But each of those times I was actually leveling up because I was gaining experience and new skills that I would not have gained had I not transitioned in the way that I transitioned. Every role, even the ones that I despised, taught me something. Corporate America, it was soul sucking, okay? That was probably one of the worst things I could have ever done. 0 out of 10, absolutely do not recommend, especially if you are wanting to do something that seems fulfilling. But for me, it gave me business skills. It helped me learn how to write contracts. It helped me learn marketing communications. It gave me strategy for going out and gaining new business to keep the revenue flowing. All of those things, I don't believe that I would have learned in the manner that I learned them on a large scale dealing with corporate America. Education taught me patience. It taught me leadership. It taught me the power of impact. It taught me servants leadership, things that you don't get in corporate America. And then there's entrepreneurship. It taught me true resilience. It showed me that real fulfillment comes when you actually create something you believe in and fearlessly go in the pursuit of it. And what really hit me was that I always knew when it was time to pivot at each of those points in my life because I felt it internally. I knew when I started waking up and dreading my day, and when I felt like my soul was just being drained because I was simply doing my job, but there was no joy in it, then it was time. And I know that some of you are feeling the exact same way right now. The problem is that sometimes we feel this and we still continue to get up every single day for weeks, for months, and years without changing anything. So the question becomes, what's holding you back? What is really stopping you? Is it the fear of starting over? Because if it is, I get it. I have been there every single time. None of the times I actually knew what to do next. What I did know is that I couldn't stay where I was. I was so unhappy that I just could not see a future where that day of sadness or stress or just feeling lifeless could be my future years later. It was never about the fear of failing. Sometimes it was about the fear of taking a pay cut, but I always knew that if I followed my heart, the pay would eventually follow. Is it fear that you're not prepared for your next role? Maybe you feel like you're missing skills or you need to go back to school. I had those same thoughts, but I often reminded myself that men apply for jobs that they're never fully qualified for all the time. They walk in with confidence knowing that they have a solid foundation. They walk in knowing that they can learn on the job. And that's how I started looking at my career pivots. I literally trusted that whatever I had inside of me was whatever I needed to figure things out along the way. And a lot of times that's exactly what I did. Is it the people around you making you doubt yourself? Because I had the same thing. The people's closest to me rarely believed in my ability and in my decisions. I got hit with criticisms. I got hit with questions. There was doubt. And there were even moments where I almost let those people stop me. But what helped me push through was surrounding myself with people who were on the same journey as me. Finding mentors who could guide me, even if we weren't consistent in the contact. And when I actually needed to keep my own self motivated, I turned to self-help books. I basically poured into myself through journaling, through reading, through prayer, anything that I could to drown out the negativity. And that's something that you can do too. If you don't know what's next, I firsthand know that the uncertainty can be paralyzing. But here is what I do want you to know is that you never have to have all of this figured out. I never did. One thing that I've learned is that once you take a step, the universe will open up and make a way for you. It will bring all the people and the experiences and everything to you. But you have to decide that you want it first, and then you have to take action, because faith without works is, you got it, it's nothing will happen. So each time I made a shift, yes, I was scared, but I did it afraid. I trusted myself. I trusted in the God that I serve. I trusted that I would always be exactly where I needed to be. So if you're in the least bit feeling lost or just uncertain, lean into that trust. Pay attention to what excites you. Pay attention to what drains you. All of those are clues. And little by little, the next step will absolutely reveal itself, because that's just how our world works. For those of you that are facing a transition right now, whether it's voluntary or involuntary, a few things that helped me were to embrace the pivot. Change is not a setback. Sometimes that we think it's a failure or we think we're taking a step back. But again, I learned that it's really a setup for your come up. The discomfort that you're feeling is most likely growth, and lean into that growth and it will always propel you higher. Extract the lessons. Every experience, even the ones that you dislike the most, are teaching you something valuable. We always have the opportunity to ask ourselves, what am I learning here that is preparing me for the next chapter in my life? What am I learning here that I can use later? Stay authentic to yourselves. No matter where you go, bring you with you. Bring your values, bring your voice, your purpose. Those are the things that's going to make you stand out and lead with confidence. As always, I can never, ever, ever go through an episode without giving you some type of action steps. This is one episode that I absolutely do not want you to just listen to and move on. I encourage you to reflect on your journey. Number one, assessing where you are right now. Take a moment to evaluate your current role. What's working for you in that role, and what's just soul sucking for you? And identify what you truly want more of in your life and in your career. And what are those things that you absolutely do not want to do again? This year, or should I say the last year, when I moved to a new state, I basically was creating the life that I desired. And in that life, there were some things that I absolutely did not want to subscribe to anymore. And I wrote it down and I made a goal and I said, when I move, I no longer want to do XYZ. I do not want this to be a part of my story. That was my past. It got me to a point, but I no longer want to rely on that. I am moving forward in my purpose and in the promise that I know that was made to me in my visions and through my prayer. And so I'm going to pursue those things. And even if it gets difficult, I don't want to look at XYZ as an option, because that aligned with my life when I was playing small. And if I continued to do that, then it meant that I would never obtain these big ideas and big visions and big income that I desired, because I mentally and emotionally was attaching myself to playing small. So assess where you are, take a moment to evaluate that, and identify what you want and identify what you do not want. Also, take a look at your transferable skills. Write down your strengths and how they can apply to new opportunities. This really is going to be the thing that helps you see that you have what it takes to make a successful pivot. For example, if you are a teacher in a classroom, teachers in classroom have some amazing skills, and many teachers have left the classroom and they have entered fields where their skills were completely transferable and where their income was able to go from barely making it to more than enough. And so identify those skills that you have and do some research on what careers that you would like to have can use those skills, and then start making a plan for that successful pivot. Make a small move today. You can take one step, even if it's a small step, toward the future you really desire. For example, you can update your resume today. You can reach out to someone in your desired field for discussion. You can reach out via email, social media, through a personal contact. You can also maybe explore courses that align with your next move. We don't always have to go back to school to get a degree. You can take courses online. For example, in the tech field, even right now, there's many companies like Google and Verizon that are offering free certifications in the tech field where you can get started. And then this time next year, or even in 2 years, you will be able to have that career that you really want with a salary that you absolutely deserve. You can start making your exit plan with a deadline for when you want to pivot. Every single time that I was going to transition, sometimes the idea of wanting to pivot was on a whim, but the exit plan was always written out. There was always a goal. There was always a deadline, and there were always steps in between that idea of wanting to pivot and when I would actually go. Those are all steps that I would follow in between there. So the idea is that you must put that energy out into the universe so that you can be guided towards your promise and purpose in life. I hope this episode gave you something to think about. If you love today's conversation, please be sure to share it with a friend who needs to hear this. And if you haven't already, please leave a review. It helps more people find this space and join in on these important conversations. Plus, don't forget to navigate over to YouTube, Educator Sanctuary, where you can listen to accompanying affirmations to these episodes. There's a beautiful self-confidence affirmation track that is perfect to listen to right after this episode or at bedtime. But until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and most importantly, keep staying true to you. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you love what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.